Greetings and salutations, brothers and sisters. My name is Brendon Jones, and today I'm going to be sharing you my story and my experience with the team of 0 Point University. I first of all would like to make a huge thank you to Brother Dynamo Jack and the crew at 0 Point University for assisting me in getting to this point. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I released my father from prison using the secure party creditor process and the wonderful education of legalese and the legal system, and how this system was built to enslave us, but how it was also constructed to have a way out. So my story begins a few weeks ago, November the 16th. I receive a phone call from my grandmother, and she says, "Your father's in prison again." And my heart dropped for a moment. But then I remembered, I'm a solver. But what do I need to do? So I hit up my brother Dynamo. And I said, "Brother, I need to hire your services again." He said, "What you need?" And I said, "My father's back in prison. I need to get him out." "What's it for?" "We got a violation of protection order." "All right, just get back with me here in a little while. I'll have the documents all ready for you." In the meantime, I spent hours trying to call the sheriff's department, trying to call the police, trying to call the jail, trying to get a message to my father: do not sign anything, do not do anything, do not agree to anything, don't even take a blanket unless you can reserve your rights. And it took me about 3 hours to get in touch with him. I was forced to pay $75 to talk to my father for a total of about 2 hours with a collect call service. But I was able to relay him the information that I'm on my way. Me and a brother are constructing some documents to get you out of there. And I promise I will explain everything to you after everything's through. So my brother and I take a 16-hour drive to Colorado, Mesa County, in Grand Junction. We go and visit the 21st Judicial Court of Mesa County. And on November the 18th at 8 a.m., I walk into court and I sit in the middle row of the gallery. And before this, I had submitted a 10-page document, a motion of dismissal, and a 5-page document as an entry of appearance to be able to represent my father as Sixth Amendment counsel. And I sit down, and the clerk walks in. I walk over, I'm still in the gallery, I hand her a letter. She immediately takes that letter and goes to the judge's quarters. She confers with the judge, and the judge and herself come back. The judge, and he sits down on his big old chair. He's got war flags waving on the side. And he says, "Whose letter is this?" And I just sit there. And he looks at me and he says, "Is this your letter?" And he hands the letter over to the DA. And the DA hands it to me. And I look at him in the eye and said, "I invoke my common law right to practice law. I am here to represent my father as Sixth Amendment counsel. I invoke my common law right to practice law." And he looks at me and he says, "You're not a licensed attorney. You can't represent your father." And I look at him in the eye and I said, "Well, that depends. I would like to see a license to determine whether I'm a licensed attorney or not." And he just looks at me. I said, "I am a lawyer in fact." He's silent. In the meantime, I got about 6 officers and 6 lawyers from the DA standing around me as I'm sitting down in the gallery, hey, why don't you come outside? We just want to talk to you. Hey, I don't think you know how this works. You can't represent your father. You're not an attorney. Yeah, why don't you come out here? You need to come outside with us. And I say, no, I do not accept your offer. I do not accept your offers. I'm having a conversation between myself and the judge. And I ask the judge, is this a court of record? I ask him 3 times, is this a court of record? And on the 3rd time, he makes a hand motion and has 6 officers pick me up and drag me out of the courtroom and all the way outside of the courthouse. And you know, this being one of my first experiences with this system, personally, I was very excited. And when they dragged me out, I was looking at them saying, where's your documentation? You know, what right do you got to pull me out of a public building? And you know, they just made up some things. Oh, if you come back in here, we'll have to arrest you. I said, on what grounds? You arrest me? What have I done? And they just left. Meanwhile, my brother's still sitting there in the gallery as the trial goes on. So they have the trial without me. And the judge releases my father on PR bond and gives him a little slap on the wrist. Meanwhile, the DA and his defense attorney are trembling, trying to speak their case. I would like the court to consider this. I have that all recorded. But they released my father in about an hour. And I was doing cartwheels in that sheriff's office. I was jumping up and down. I was so excited. I gave Dynamo a call. I said, we did it. And after that, I've never been more grateful. So, when it comes to dealing and interfacing with these public entities, I know firsthand that their only objective is to siphon your energy, your currency. They have absolutely no sympathy for you, or your well-being, or your life, or anything. They treat you as a dead entity, as a fictional character. They treat you worse than livestock, because it's all about maximizing that profit. They had my dad's social security number all over those documents. And all those documents he had where he was supposed to sign, they signed it for him. They wanted maximum profit. And having a first-hand understanding of this, now I know what my mission is. My mission is to spread sovereignty and to spread freedom to anybody who will heed the call. My method worked because I was treating the judge for what he was. He was a banker. He was a contractor. He was trying to get a deal. So I gave him a deal he couldn't refuse. So instead of addressing my deal, he dragged me out of the courtroom with his lackeys. So today, I want to enlighten everybody on the power and the peace that comes with the secured party creditor process. This process entails you going through and understanding the nature of these contracts that have all of us in a bind. Because at the moment, if you're watching this, 99% of you, your body and soul has been signed away to the United States government or another foreign jurisdiction in another, whatever country or nation you live in. Because the nature of this agreement is to siphon your credit, siphon your energy, and to take from you what is your birthright. And they've written the system in such a way that you can take it back. You just have to reclaim it. And the secure party creditor process is the means to recover that. A certain amount of, for all my United States folks out there, A certain amount of gold was reserved for you when you were born. They stamped that foot on your signature and said, we're going to put away this much gold for this little baby. But you can't access this unless you reclaim it. And the secure party creditor process takes you through such a process. It allows you to authenticate your birth certificate. This document right here is a bond agreement. It's got my name, my father, and my mother's name all in all capital letters. And if you've been following 0 Point University for any length of time, you know that a name spelled in all capital letters is a corporate name. And that corporate name has a monetary value. And they use copyrighted language to deceive you into becoming liable to pay the debts and the bonds and the liens of all the agreements they place on your all capital name. Your all capital name is a business. If any of you own a business or have worked for a business, when you go and you interface with other businesses, you don't use your personal name. You're a representative of that industry, of that company. So if you have a driver's license, you have a birth certificate, if you have any sort of formal documentation for a foreign jurisdiction, for what we're calling the United States government, then you are technically a representative of that government. You're technically an agent of that estate. And you are the beneficiary of their agreement, meaning you get the table scraps. They're the trustee, the executor. They've been designated, granted permission by your mother. So this process is simply taking back what's yours. It's not about whether you believe it's true or not. It's not about how you think it works. It's about what's on the record. The power that these estates have is through paper, words, ink. The pen is always mightier than the sword. And these individuals who we're calling politicians or public officials, they've all made a bond, they made an oath, swearing to protect that piece of paper we call the Constitution and the people within that bond. And we're not those people. I'm not a person. I'm not an individual. I'm a flesh and blood man with a soul. I live inside of this body. Excuse me. I live inside of this body. My domicile's in here. I live at the United States. I don't live in the United States. And that's a fact. You cannot argue the facts. Made it very clear to the judge. I'm not here to argue the facts of the charging instrument. I'm not arguing that you got a bond on my father. I'm just asking that you show it to me. And that right there is what got the man choking on his spit. Because their whole system runs off of deception. They have the files and the documents in the back one way, and they got it differently for you on the front end. So I'm just asking that they go back there and show me the paper they got. And that right there scared them off. So if they can't even show me the piece of paper that's supposed to be providing them with a jurisdiction, how can we call these people people of justice? How can we look at them in the eye and saying, you're doing good for us, when they won't even show us the paper that supposedly gives them the authority to do so in the first place? So I encourage everybody who has watched this video, who has listened to my short testimony, to please subscribe to 0 Point University, to please take the time to educate yourself on how this commercial reality functions, and please, I implore you, to sign up and learn how to take control of your commercial entity, of your commercial instrument, and reclaim your birthright. Thank you very much.